Hey guys, it's Chris here, back again, this time with a movie review. I haven't done these in quite a while. However, this one's just a little bit different. Like I said, movie reviews are going to be a little bit different. That's why whenever you clicked on this thumbnail, this video, it was a little bit long of a video. That's because this video was taken bits and pieces of. This is a Man of Steel review. Next week we'll be doing a Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice review, and then the next episode after that will be Zack Snyder's Justice League, and also a little bit of the Justice League, or the Justice League of 2017. This is just gonna be like the shortened version. You guys want the longer version where we give more thoughts, we talk about the reviews of whenever this video or movie came out and all that. We also have some trivia on there, so some really exciting things. We go into more in depth of some of the other things. We even have some of our favorite lines, our favorite scenes. A little bit of that is on this video. However, if you guys want the full experience, definitely check out it on the podcast. Basically, wherever you find out your podcast, links of all that will be in the description down below. Click on our website of the Fireside, because thank you to Fireside for that, and it'll basically get you to your desired platform from there, or you can just listen to it from the site. Either way, leave a like onto this video and also comment down below what you guys want me to review, and also what you guys think about this new movie review format. Please let me know if you guys really enjoy it. It's a little bit easier for me just to do this type of stuff. Personally, recording and editing is not fun. If you're new here or return visitor, hit that subscribe button. Also check out the podcast, and also while you're at it, while you're hitting that notify and all that, hit the subscribe button and all that type of stuff. I just kind of hinted at it just a second ago. Hit that notify bell. It really helps out this channel and lets you guys be notified whenever a new video comes out. If nothing else, let's get into it. Alright, so Man of Steel was released in theaters on June 14th of 2013.
And it released with a big bang in the box office for its entire time in movie theaters to a rousing $668 million.
With a box office score or gross of $291.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
USA.
And the budget for the film was only $260 million, estimated. Of course, you got to include inflation with all that stuff.
That's true.
So what is this movie about, Chris? Why should I care?
Well, one, it's amazing.
It's a DC film, so you got that. It's about a guy named Superman.
So yeah, to give this a quick synopsis, there's multiple places where it has different synopsises. Kind of a simple one is from IMDb, where it says, an alien child is evacuated from his dying world and sent to Earth to live among humans. His peace is threatened when other survivors of his home planet invade Earth.
That's actually a great way to say it.
It is. It's a great way. It's fine.
It's fine.
So, Jesse, when was the first time that you actually watched this movie? So, what are your kind of like thoughts? Is it good? Bad? I want all those thoughts. Come on, man.
So, I'm of the opinion that it is good. It's not horrible. It's not just meh. It's your above ground DC film. The DCEU.
But I'm talking about whenever it first got released, whenever you first sat in the movie theaters on that day whenever it was released. What were your thoughts?
So my first thoughts were, okay, this is different. This is because I'm a Marvel fan. So it's a lot darker than your typical superhero movie from around that time, or any other superhero movies from around then. This took it on a completely different path when you think of the great Marvel movies that were coming out at the time. Now, if you compare it to the Nolanverse with Batman, it's same tonnage style.
Well, fun fact is that Christopher Nolan was a producer on this film. Wow,
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, he also, I think, helped with the story, if I'm not mistaken, because I think it says it within the end or within the beginning. I can't remember, but it was produced by Christopher Nolan. I think he helped with the story. It was also a screenplay by David S. Goyer. It is the director of Zack Snyder, and it stars obviously Henry Cavill or Cavill. Amy Adams, and Michael Shannon, and also Russell Crowe.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, Lawrence Fishburne, even though he's in it for a few scenes.
He's more than just a few scenes.
No, it's a few scenes. I can probably count the amount of scenes that he's in.
I think you're wrong.
I don't think I'm wrong.
I don't think you can count on one hand the amount of scenes. He was in a considerate amount of the movie.
Kind of. I mean, yeah. I mean, he was in there for bits and pieces.
Yeah.
He played his part for Perry White.
Yeah, he played an important, non-important person in the film.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that's kind of right. Yeah, wow. I can't believe that this movie got released in 2013. And it's been insanely... it's just time... This movie is almost 10 years old.
Yeah. It came out... Let's see.
We already talked about that.
No. I'm just thinking here. I'm trying to think what it Marvel-wise came out right before this. Was this right after Avengers, the first one?
Yeah, Avengers, because that came out in 2011, so it would be probably like Iron Man 3.
So
No.
Thor came out in 2011. No. Avengers came out in 2012. Iron Man 3 came out in 2013.
Yeah, so it was right around that time of so it was Iron Man 3. Yeah, so it was right around that time. God,
wow,
goodness gracious, it's already hard to believe because we're already at the.
You're getting old, dude. You're getting old.
It was 2 years from me graduating high school.
You're getting old.
What was that? Junior?
You're an old man.
Junior or sophomore in high school. Or I think I was I was turning a junior in high school.
Goodness gracious. I was 23 back then.
Yes, basically a year younger than I am right now. So, who's the old man now?
Still you.
Okay.
You're the boss here. You know. You tell me what to do, so I don't know.
Okay. My thoughts of this movie is actually I actually really do enjoy it. It's very interesting with this movie. Just because at first, whenever I first saw this movie, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great.
I don't know that.
For those that are just now listening, and for those that heard this possibly either on...
If Chris doesn't decide to edit this out, our
Alexa just
picked up what Chris just said.
And now it just picked up another thing. I'm looking at it. It's Skynet already. I know, different franchise.
Computer.
It's Brainiac.
It's computer. Pewter. you like Batman, Lego Batman.
Oh, okay. Well, it's also Brainiac since we're talking about Superman.
That's true. Very true. Good job, Chris. Keeping us on the topic. What are we talking about?
You're just going from everywhere.
Anyway, thoughts. Continue your thoughts. Your thoughts to score.
Oh, yeah. The score. Oh, my goodness. This is probably one of the best scores of all time. I mean, granted, the more that I listen to it, the more I actually really do appreciate BVS just of the different types of score. We'll talk about that one next episode. But with this score, it is amazing, especially whenever you first hear it, especially in the theaters. Like, I fell in love. This is definitely a theater type of movie. Like, if you did not watch this in the theaters, then you just missed out a huge portion.
You need to listen to it in surround sound.
Yes, because Hans Zimmer with this very big epic score, he's able to surround this with just huge drums, just go
exactly.
Don.
It fits the scene, like we talked about earlier. An alien child leaves the planet before it explodes. When Superman as a kid is getting lifted off the planet, that score, you just feel that.
Yeah, and I do, and I actually enjoy this Superman theme. It's the flight theme, and then also on at least on the soundtrack, it's the flight theme. And then what are you going to do when you're not Superman? Those are his two themes, and just the feeling of just like this is Superman, especially whenever you have the flight scene. One of my favorite personal scenes. Jesse's scene is probably a little bit different, but one of my, whenever he first dons on the Superman suit is, well, we'll get to a little bit later, especially for those that are actually watching on here. Definitely listen to the podcast for a little bit more into depth.
This is just a snapshot version.
Yeah. So, yeah, where I was going. Yeah, so he gets the suit, and then, he goes outside, and then, he just breathes in the fresh air. The tone of it is just like, oh, yeah.
And he puts his fist down.
One of the best is just like, you have all these rocks fouling up, and I love it, whenever he's just flying, especially either in this movie, BVS, or even Zack Snyder's Justice League. He has the rocks flowing. I mean, granted, and you see about a little bit in full culmination in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which we'll get to that in a few episodes' time.
Don't get us ahead of there, Chris.
Exactly.
Take our time.
Exactly. But you have like the first, shot up. So basically, it's like the huge jump, and then it's just like he's trying to get there, and then whenever he gets there, in my opinion, that this is the better flight scene in the Superman one from the 1970s, I believe, with Christopher Reeve. I think this one's it gets you of the feeling of this farm boy who just learned of how to fly. It's kind of interesting the way that we're kind of already doing this type of review, where it's kind of like the movie. We're just jumping in here from different scene to scene to scene, because that's what the first half of this movie is. And that, in my opinion, at first I loved it because I love Batman Begins. I enjoy the back and forth. I know Jesse has a different opinion of that, where he does not enjoy that. But I personally enjoy that.
Don't speak for me.
Well, because you already said it.
When did I say this?
Whenever we were not recording.
I'm just see. Look, don't let him give spoilers on me. Anyway, continue, Christopher.
Yeah. So whenever I first watched it, I really enjoyed the huge jumping back and forth between each other. But now, the more that I've actually watched it, I'm not a huge fan of that first half. It just goes on forever.
Like it's only about it's only like 15 minutes of the movie. But it feels like it's 45 minutes to an hour worth of the entire movie.
It is. And what's very funny about it...
It could be its own short. We did discuss this off camera, where we said, this could be an extended edition, an add-on on the DVD.
What could... The first half or the Kryptonian?
Especially the Kryptonian. Specifically. The Kryptonian part of the film could have been an extra to where, hey, do you want to know what happened to Krypton? Click this. But Zack Snyder doesn't like to cut stuff. He likes to include every little bit of film that he has.
Yeah, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes. That includes credits, if I'm not mistaken.
It would.
So count out 3 minutes of that, maybe 2 minutes of that, of credits.
Credits are long, man. Credits are like 10 minutes of a film nowadays.
No, if I'm not mistaken, whenever I was watching the film, I think it was only 3 minutes long.
Wow, that's a long 3 minutes. That entire beginning sequence and the going back and revisiting the past is such a long part of the film. It just feels overdone. Now, it's like I said, it's a good DC film. It's one of the better DC films. That's part of it that I do not like.
One of the things I actually do like, though, a lot of people have actually not liked, I mean, granted, a little bit, it is excessive, is the action. And I think that's I think a lot of people's probably maybe problem with it, with the first half not having as much action. I mean, there's a few action
sequences,
but it's not as much as the end action scene. It's basically one half is just storytelling, then the other hour / 30 minutes, so 30 minutes to an hour of this movie is just full-on action, which is a lot. I mean, it's good for an action film, as this kind of is, but I mean, there's a lot of destruction if you guys have not ever seen this movie, and that's really the main complaint.
But I will say this about Zack Snyder's films: each part of destruction and action has meaning. It's not just relentless blood and gore and death. It has a purpose.
Except for this film. I mean, granted, we'll get to that within the next episode with Batman v Superman, but in another reality, no, this would just be pointless. Okay, with all this.
See, I disagree with you. I'm going to tell you why. So we had the battle scene when the Kryptonians first come to Earth and they battle across Kansas. Basically, it's a battle across Kansas. And they go to this, they blast Clark. Card actually hits Zod and flies him into the town nearby. And then the evil woman, Kryptonian, comes and they start getting shot. They start getting shot by the American troops, and you just see them having trouble fighting against the bullets, being blasted apart, and yet you see them start to be able to use their Kryptonian strength using the sun and empowering their cells. So it's give and take. So there's a lot of blood and destruction, but if you watch the focus, it has meaning.
Plot throwing out this entire movie is people ready for this type of character.
I mean, the whole part where they took over the satellites of every country on Earth,
I thought that was
Zod
cool.
and all of them. That just go,
That, in my opinion, that's
so cool.
At that point was whenever the film picked up. Whenever it says, "You
Yes, you are housing one of my citizens. Please return them to me."
Yeah, and so Jesse, what are your thoughts on Zod, the main villain?
So for me, it was hit and miss throughout the film. There were some lines that did not hit, and then at the very end of the movie, especially on my most recent watching just the other day, when Superman has just taken down the last ship, and all the other Kryptonians are dead and sent back to the Phantom Zone, Zod lands on the Earth. And you guys are going to hear more about this on the podcast episode, so stay tuned over there. Click on over to the PureXHeart Podcast. The Kryptonians were bred from birth. They were taken from this thing called a codex, and their purpose was inbred into their very DNA, into what they would do as a career on Krypton, what their job would be. They had no free will, no free choice.
Yeah, that's why Zod is more of a military type of atmosphere. He'll do whatever it takes to get the job done.
More angelic, I guess we could say, because humans, taking from the Bible's perspective, humans were given a purpose by the Lord to take over the earth and, multiply.
Mm-hmm.
And angels are just there to kind of keep the praise over the Lord, to watch over his saints and servants kind of thing. They don't really know what salvation is.
Mm-hmm.
So Zod does not know what Clark goes through as far as having lived on a different planet and learned and irrigated the land, having stuff alien to him. Kind of.
Yeah, so would you kind of say that Zod is kind of like a Lucifer in one instance?
In a sense.
Or like an archangel? Or like a fallen angel, I should say?
I think Archangel would be more specific. I don't think you could say he's exactly Lucifer, because he has things happen to him that make him the way he is. He didn't choose necessarily.
Yeah.
Again, because he had no free choice. It was put in him to be the military leader on Krypton. Zod, that is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some Christians could argue it was like, well, that was God's plan to make Lucifer evil, to predestine, and or free will, predestined, and all that.
I think that's a deep theological discussion.
Yeah, which we're not going to get into.
I think God. But to do this real quick, I think God knew that Satan would fall. Although I think that it was not God's will for Satan to have failed.
Yeah, that actually honestly makes sense. At least for our mindsets, just makes it maybe a little bit better in one aspect. I don't know.
Makes you wonder what we talk about this, the 1,000 eyes and all that kind of stuff. Wonder what Lucifer's real form is, kind of like.
I mean, it could be like a snake. I mean, because he takes form of a snake. I mean,
in the garden. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that could be like. I mean, he could just because. I mean, he could possess the snake. I don't really know how that works. Anyway,
anyway, we're going way off topic right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zod felt like Clark has stolen his soul. He has stolen his purpose by making it impossible at this point in the movie to save Krypton.
Yeah, and at this point, he's destroyed the world engine and the planet bringer, because he was like, I'm going to build my people on top of these bombs, and he gave Clark a choice. And it was Clark's choice to save the people, because he's like, Krypton had their chance, because he was like, he doesn't really know of whether to trust.
You destroy this ship! You destroy Krypton!
Okay, Jesse.
I'm sorry.
I was talking.
I'm getting more into it. I'm sorry.
I was getting detailed right here.
Sorry. Had a moment of passion.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Please continue.
with Superman, with Cal, he's very much deciding. He's like, I don't trust this Zod character. And it's a very, very biblical imagery right here. It's a huge biblical reference for you guys, where he goes to the church and he asks and it has like this very nice imagery, kind of symbolism. You get it? It's symbolism because he's a savior character, and then that's Jesus right there. You get it? It's symbolism right there. It's symbolism. He's praying, and he's asking what to do.
You're spitting on me.
Anyway, the preacher, for one, is just like, he's like, I don't know of how to respond to this. He has like a big, you can see the gulp of his like, oh, wow.
Gulp, serious spiritual question. Gulp.
Yeah, then, he says, trust it with your gut, what you feel is, the best process. I mean, granted, Zack Snyder isn't a Christian, so that's not exactly what a pastor would once say. But then again, the pastor might have been like, I think you're a Catholic.
I think he's either Catholic or Presbyterian.
Yeah. I was about to say that. Yeah, either Catholic or Presbyterian, just because the way that his
garb.
Yeah, his garb was, his uniform, one would say, or whatever, his robes, his priestly robes, one would say, but not really, I guess. It's had a very Presbyterian but also Catholic type of vibe. What can you say to like a person that, you just...
What would you say to an alien that just came and asked a super spiritual who's super impressive, super strength, all of that?
Yeah, who's kind of like a savior type of character. Who's like, what
do you say to that?
Yeah, it's just like, what would Jesus do? It's like, well, Jesus is kind of standing right there in one instance. I'm not saying that Superman is Jesus, but there's a lot of...
You just said that. It's symbolism.
Exactly. It's symbolism. So, he's supposed to be treated like a Jesus-like character. He's supposed to be the savior for not only his race, but also for the human race. And it's very interesting because, you also get the symbolism of where Jonathan is kind of like a Joseph type of role model. It's not like his real dad. He even says into a line, he's like, but you're not even my real dad. You're not even my real... Like, my gosh.
Wow, yeah. Makes you kind of wonder.
I mean, there's some flaws to Cal's personality rather than the Jesus personality. So take that of what you will. I mean, there's flaws in humans. I mean, it's just to symbolize, this person has a good meaning. This person is good in one aspect. I mean, I love Henry Cavill's performance. It's fun.
It's so great. Like I said, Zod is hit and miss for me. This particular scene, the soul scene, both of those are top-notch scenes from the character and the actor playing him.
Yeah. This is why I think that Henry Cavill is kind of perfect for this role as Superman, due to the fact that on his Instagram post, he says this, Dear fans and followers, I wanted to make a wee community announcement. I couldn't help but notice that there has been some social animosity of late. It's becoming increasingly prevalent on my feed. There has been lots of, let's call it speculation for now, about my private life and professional partnerships. Now, while I do appreciate the passion and support by those very people who are speculating, it has come to such a point that I needed to say something, which in itself is a bad thing. We are living in an age of social enlightenment. More and more people are realizing that their views may have been blinkered and that they need to expand them to encompass others. So to you out there who are expressing your disdain and showing your displeasure through a surprising variety of ways, it's time to stop. I know it can be fun to speculate, to gossip, and to dive into our own personal echo chambers on the internet, but your passion is misplaced and it causes harm to the people I care about most. Even your most conservative or have negative assumptions without both my personal and professional life just aren't true. Let's embrace this age of social enlightenment together and move forward with positivity. I am very happy in love and in life. I'd be enormously grateful if you were happy with me. If you can't bring yourself to be happy with me, then at the very least, try to do yourself proud and be the best version of yourself. And it's one of the things that I wanted to include on to this review / whatever. So it's great that, because there's been speculation about Man of Steel 2 or just a new Superman reboot. There's just been a lot of things just been happening within the DCEU that not a lot of people are liking. And so basically Henry Cavill is literally just doing what his thing kind of like is why he's a great human being. He just seems like the fit for Superman, even though he is a British actor. But it's like, does Superman really have to be an American? Kind of a little bit. But the way that Henry Cavill is just going at it, just the way that he's just like, this is the truth, and this is the way that we should live our lives. Just like, hey man, we're not going to spread any negativity. That's the Superman motto, is not to really spread any negativity in this scenario. So
there's that.
All right, before we kind of close it up, we kind of didn't really have talk about a certain scene that happens within this movie. It's a very impactful scene. It's the controversial scene of this movie.
Yeah, it's a big discussion, kind of, how do you wrap up a film? Like, you have this ultra big bad, this super powered megalomaniac. How do you stop it?
Well, it's not really of the wrapping of the film. It's just like, how do you respond in this situation? From after that, a lot of the big scene that we're talking about is the end scene, where Superman has the choice to either save this
family that's being cornered by Zod,
have them be dead. And it ends with Superman having to do the unthinkable and snapping Zod's neck, which a lot of people were upset about, without a doubt. People hated it whenever that happened. Whenever I first watched it, my mind was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. Superman doesn't really kill. Then the more that you think about it, the more that he was trapped in a situation where he only had to do one move, either let his family die or...
And General Zod had said earlier, this ends one of two ways. Either you die, Kal-El, or I die. There's only one way to wrap the film up. Yeah. Yes.
And with General Zod's character, he was not going to stop. Okay, that's literally what his mind was breaded. So, it's just like... And plus, also, for those people that saying Superman doesn't kill, have you guys seen Superman 2? He kills General Zod. I know in the Richard Donner cut, I think he definitely does.
Yes.
And I think in the other cut,
there's a completely different ending.
Yeah, I think they get thrown in jail, and it makes no sense for that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, what? And I think in most comic books with the Zod character, I think he's not really a recurring villain. He's always like one of the first villains that he faces, and
he usually gets locked back up into the Phantom Zone or something like that.
Yeah, in some instances where
because there's some characters you just can't lock up in a jail cell. I don't know if you get this. These are aliens, Chris.
Yeah, with superpowers. Sure, but there's some instances where he just kills them just because he has to, or in Superman 2 where he just feels the need to, because he wants to, because that's the killer right there. That's the killer Superman right there that people keep on saying that is not killer. Oh yeah, no, he's good because he does. And I think a lot of people think that he did already a lot of killing, but one of the things that I actually saw, at least some other people talk about, is that in the moment for the Battle of Metropolis and all that other stuff and the Battle of Smallville, he couldn't process all of it. It was all just happening so fast because this was his first ever battle. And then that moment he could then process of, because he's a young boy, okay? He's young at this fighting stuff, okay? He's like, this is his first day at the job, basically.
Right. He had been so reserved. Jonathan Kent always told him never to use his power, to kind of fight or whatever. Just kind of let it happen.
Yeah.
And this is his first time. All right, I get to show what I can do.
Yeah, just because he is being forced into this situation where
Exactly.
it's either the death of millions or billions, the death of a whole
Planet.
Because, I mean, I think Superman just didn't, like, Superman was like, yeah, I don't want to like, do
Exactly.
this. Like, I don't trust you, but I want to do this the best way possible. That's why, you know, he's complimenting of, you know, what to do.
And I think it's kind of what you said. It's kind of the building up of the angst. What does he choose here? Zack Snyder broke it down in speaking with MovieWeb.com. He talks about the moment when Clark Kent, Superman, snaps Zod's neck, and he just yells out this, "Wah!" Just kind of like this, what did I just do? Snyder says, quote, "It is all about him ending up alone. We can debate forever whether Superman would kill Zod, but the real question is his legacy. He's choosing here. He's choosing us, humans. He's so hurt. He's torn a piece of himself out." Snyder went on to explain how the act of taking Zod's life was supposed to make up for the earlier inaction in the film on Superman's part when it came to saving his Earth father, Jonathan. In the beginning of Clark Kent's journey, he stopped himself from revealing his presence to the world, even if it meant, in doing so, Jonathan Kent would lose his life due to a tornado. Snyder says, quote, "Even if we understand from this outer perspective that Superman is saving the world, being essentially terraformed into another planet, the greater good is being served. It's like an Ozymandias type scenario when, you know, a big sacrifice is made to save the world. And I would say that not even intentionally in this case, Zod is a powerful dude.
Mm-hmm.
To suggest you could defeat him without him nearly winning is not realistic at all, or the kind of consequence I wanted from my superhero movies. I don't like this idea where there's no consequence, that these characters get to knock around in our world and they can create and solve these giant problems without incident.
Yeah. I mean, and also you look in other superhero movies, Marvel movies, for as great as people say that.
They are great. They are good. They're not all great. They all have a common end. They're working towards an end.
Okay, the thing is, where's the villains? You know where they are? They're dead.
They all die. The end of every individual film, yes.
For most of them.
Until the recent ones.
Yeah, and for most of them, they've died, okay? There's been countless times where the villains have died, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Batman, in the Batman movies, he kills people, okay? We'll talk about this for next week. This is not the only time that Batman's ever killed.
Won't be the last time he ever kills in a movie.
Probably not. But this is actually from Henry Cavill himself. So Superman himself said in an interview, this is the article from cinemablend.com, where, you know, he was talking about the creed for the Superman killing aspect. For Henry Cavill, this act wasn't a violation of Superman's creed, but the catalyst for it. As he explained, and I quote, "The killing of Zod would have led to a wonderful reason why Superman never kills. Not he never kills just because his dad said so one day. He made the decision himself because of an impossible scenario, to which he then said, I don't care if it's impossible again, I'm gonna find a way to make it possible in the impossible." There's also actually some scenarios where the first scene starts with the same music crew as this scene right here of the death of Zod. So basically the beginning of Cal. There's a lot of death into life. You're going to see that within the next film. That, you know, one starts with a death, and then the other one starts with a life, basically. Or, you know, one starts with a life, and then the other one ends with a death.
Yes.
Then you also see with that in the third movie, too.
Yeah. Rebirth.
Yeah, there's a lot of rebirth in these scenarios. There's a lot of rebirth, and then also a lot of, you know, somber tones. You know, some starts with like grave, and then some starts with
Great storytelling.
Yeah,
like we kind of mentioned earlier. Like we talked about this off the air, but just the intentionality of the pain of the battles, the stones being tossed around when Clark Kent puts his fist down. When the first time that Zod uses his heat vision, like you just see the veins kind of popping out and just the pain of just the, blah, that's what a heat coming out of your eyeballs would feel like.
Say what you
Intense pain.
will about Snyder. One of the best things that he does is visuals.
Yes.
So I do have to say that if you have any problems with Snyder, his visuals cannot be one of them. Like his visuals, like yes, as much as they may be like on the nose, his visuals are still amazing. His just set pieces are amazing.
The battle scenes are his forte. He is just.
What are your thoughts on the death scene, Jesse? To get your thoughts before we hit our final real thoughts.
So it's intentionally powerful. You got the family that's could be killed. You've got Clark just fighting in his mind when he just makes that decision. Okay, it's got to come to this. He's begging with Zod. Zod, stop this. And Zod goes, never.
Yeah.
And you just know what's got to happen.
Yeah.
And then you kind of makes you think, what would I do in that spot? If my family, if my friends, whatever, were in that danger, what would I choose? And I think I'd choose my family or my friends.
Yeah, the whole Man of Steel movie it's not called like Superman or all that stuff. It's called The Man, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The first line is the Man of Steel, okay? He's kind of not Superman yet, okay? This is the beginning. This is the rebirth of him.
And we actually looked it up. We spoke about it earlier. We had that little argument about, do they even call him Superman? They only call him Superman one time in the entire movie because it's just the beginning origin story.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's literally of how would Superman react to the real world. So I think with that, we gotta hit that final review. So Jesse, should Christians watch this?
I think they should. You see some very moral decisions being made here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes you think introspectively.
Yeah, it has the, kind of what if Jesus kind of came to today's earth, how would that react in the type of scenario? I mean, there's not really any bad scenes, one would say. I mean,
maybe a little language here and there.
Yeah, just some language. I mean, there's some language that they do is just like,
but nothing that you won't hear in the everyday talk at the office.
But it's not as bad as that. So it's just like normal, like type of PG-13 type of movies right there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of, about how should we react to really life almost in that scenario. So Jesse, are you gonna? We have 2 ratings for this, or we can include
So we've got Bless It Down. We've got Praise It Up. We're gonna incorporate a special 3rd category in the middle there. It's gonna be our meh category. But for this movie, I think we definitely gotta praise it up.
Okay. Yeah, why not? I'm going to praise it up also, yeah.
It sets the table for the DCEU. Great fashion.
Well, it's not really that. If you just look at this movie just by itself, and, as a type of savior, type of biblical imagery.
As a Superman movie by itself, as a Man of Steel origin story.
Yeah. But with that, if you guys would leave a like onto this video and also comment down below what you guys thought about this review. And of course, if you're new here or a return visitor and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, then go ahead, hit it right now. It really, really obviously helps out this channel. Hit that notify bell, be notified for a new video that gets released. And if nothing else, go off Jesus and change the culture. Boom. Bye.